Do you need a work? No, you had the worksheet. It's on the back side, right? Okay, so we're going to do what? Y equals, does everybody remember where that button is?
Yeah.
Where? How do I get to the absolute value? Look at math. So find your math button. Okay, on. And I'm going to clear.
And I'm
here.
guessing it's ADS.
Okay. Zoom in. Okay, so I am going to math.
So all the numbers are
First of all, so I have my cursor on the y equals because I'm going to, that's what I want to graph it. Okay.
It makes it a parabola.
Okay, and so we're going to go over to number, and that first one is absolute value. Okay, everybody remember that? So you have to go to math, then you scrolled over, I'm going to hit enter, and there it is, my y equals, I'm going to type in x, caret, raised to the third, and I am going to graph it. So I thought you told me that it was going to look like that.
No.
Why?
Absolute
Value of all the y values that went down by the time it shows up.
value. It has to be positive.
Okay, so you need just to be careful. Don't always assume, oh, I know that it is y equals x to the third. You need to pay attention to the details. That's one of the little detail things. Let's do one other thing. Michael, you have a question?
Yeah, how could, oh wait, no, no.
You good? Okay, so let's go back to that y equals, and this time let's type in minus. So I'm using my negative symbol at the bottom of my calculator. A negative x to the third. Okay. And let's graph that.
Wait, what are we graphing?
Okay, actually I'm going to go back to that y equals. I'm going to erase the absolute value one. So I don't want that on that screen. And I just went back and I cleared it. I went to the y equals. And I cleared that, and then I'm typing in minus x, so it's a negative x to the third power. Graph it.
It makes.
Okay, so what did it do? It just kind of like it switched. So it was going to be like that, but because we put the negative in front of it, it flipped around. So you just have to be a little careful with these and think about them or graph them. You know, don't just jump to conclusions, oh, I know what that's going to look like. Okay, because they can be a little tricky at times. Okay? Everybody else have any questions? So if I know that if I had my y equals, and if I typed in minus x squared, do we know what that's going to look like? So if it's minus a negative x squared, can you predict what's going to happen to the parabola? It's flipping down. Okay, so those negatives kind of flip things around. So if I clear this and I go back to just looking at my y equals a negative x to the third, it flips. It does a rotation, I suppose. Right. Okay, so just be aware of that. Okay. All right, how about this? Sketch on your paper right in front of you what you think y equals x to the fourth is going to look like. Y equals x to the fourth. And you're just doing a sketch. I want you to have a mental image of it. So do we know 3 points it's going to go through?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. 0, 0, negative, or 0. Negative 1, 1, and 1, 1.
Okay, so we know what that's going to look like.
Why do they all have to go through negative 1, 1, and 1? Did we go over that yesterday?
We didn't go through it. It's just that's what happens when if you plug in the number. If we made a
They just all
table,
happen to?
That's right. Okay. It's just a behavior. Okay.
So it can't be any.
What would the reason? All right.
One
Think-
times one times anything, it doesn't matter, it's always one.
That's right. Okay. So if you have x to the fourth, And when x is 1, what is,
Oh, yeah.
it's gonna be 1, okay? And if it is even and it's a negative 1, it's always going to be what? 1, because when we have an even number of exponents, a negative times a negative is a positive, the other negative times a negative is a positive, it would be a 1. When x to the 4th is 0, it's going to go through 0. Okay? You good with that? Okay. So, everybody have an idea of what y equals x to the 4th looks like? How about now do a sketch of y equals 2x plus 1.
Mm.
Okay, so everybody should have an idea of where it is. Why don't you graph that? Graph them both. The first one was just y equals x to the 4th. And the next one was what? 2x to the 4th.
Wait,
Plus-
was it 2x to the 4th plus 1?
Yes. The first one was just y equals x to the 4th. I asked you to have an idea of what that's going to look like. It's going to be pretty flat.
Yes.
Okay, and now we have 2x to the 4th on the same plus 1. Okay, does that remind you of something? Is this any different than when we did?
It's like HK.
Exactly. Okay, so if we had y equals x squared, Eli, we would know where the vertex is. Okay, if we said y equals x squared plus 1, what do we know happened? It went up. Okay, and the same thing happens when we have equations with different exponents. Okay, so we're just looking at a couple of different things, and today's lesson is probably, hopefully will be a review for you as well. So, you might want to take out your notebooks, and we're going to give you a bunch of little notes on exponents.
Oh, what?